welcome to another episode of Dave Trippin. This time, no more tours. We got a great, extensive email asking questions about teaching in Japan based on a book that this subscriber has read. And we're going to probably break it into two parts because this is one of the most thorough emails that I've ever received. One of the reasons I wanted to do the video on it, and we just don't want it to turn into like an hour-long video. So we'll just jump right in. Basically, we'll start here. Where is it? I've recently finished reading a book. It's titled English to Go. This font doesn't allow blah, 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 blah. The author is Craig Carey Robson, so if you want to check this book out too, you can. I'm emailing you to ask some question about things I read in the book, as well as some miscellaneous things. To give some, I guess, pretext to the book, I'll list a synopsis. The stellar crash of English school chain Nova left over 4,000 teachers stranded. That's true. Some crazy history in Japan. Indeed. And jobless in Japan. Strikes and court battles plague current giants like Berlitz, ECC, while Aeon turns its teachers into textbook salesmen. That's the idea. You're getting a kind of negative sense here. Under GABA's draconian discipline and Interac's disappearing contracts, foreigners have to stay on their toes in an industry beset by illegal labor practices, wage discrimination, and sexual harassment. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Wow. Mostly ugly so far. Teachers across Japan share their experiences about the recruitment, training, and stuff like that. The writer, too, as then says, pretty foreboding, no? I've done a fair amount of research into different programs, watch a plethora of different J-bloggers, and have heard a few articles here and there as I went into the book with a fairly educated idea of what would be discussed and how the author might slant the book to facilitate his argument, which is totally fair and generally makes for a more interesting read. So basically, he just jumps into some questions from there based on this book he has read. And since, you know, he's named one of the companies that we specifically belong to, gives us a good point of experience to talk about it. And I've been on an applying spree with tons of different companies, and so I've gotten a better sense of their business practices. So without further ado, I think we'll just like go back and forth. You start answering, and when you've kind of given an idea, then I can jump in, and then we'll just go back and forth. So the first question is, what are your experiences with communication / meeting with students outside of school and work? Does Interac impose regulations regarding this, or does it vary based on assigned school? Have you ever met with students outside of class for anything social or otherwise? Dean.
The answer, no.
The answer, quick answer is no. That's your answer. Are you content with that? You want to go on?
I can't say that I particularly want to meet my students outside of school.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like them or anything. It's just that it just might be a bit awkward.
Yeah, and I'm of the same mind. I don't meet my students outside of school, and
we see them.
Yeah, you'd see them.
You'd see them in and around the area because obviously we live in close proximity to the schools that we teach at. So you do see them out, and even that's a little bit awkward because they're like,
hey, and the parents usually speak less English than the kid does in the school, so it can often be very awkward. But you would say hi or whatever. Yeah. Interac does have a policy basically that you would not do this, and I would imagine with this, I don't think it's kind of crazy at all. You need to maintain a professional relationship. To speak to a relationship you might have with the staff at the school is something entirely different, and where I'd probably cast them in a darker light. But with this, no, they don't want you to, and we don't do it. And I would actually respect that decision that they've made. Okay, so let's go to the next one. The author references unions multiple times over the course of the book, and what they've done doing better teachers' positions. I don't get that. What are your thoughts on unions for teachers, and are you a part of one? Feel free to wander through this topic if it's something I haven't looked into as much. No, we're not a part of any union,
no unions.
And it would never happen because you as a teacher over here, unless you're expendable. Unless you got into a smaller company where you do a really, really good job, and then the better teacher who has more merit will be kept around because if the students like that teacher, the business needs you because that's who the parents are going to want to be at that school. And if you get replaced by some jackass, then they're going to lose money. So in the public school system with ECC, with Interac, you're gone in a heartbeat. Yeah. They'll replace you with the talking monkey. It doesn't matter. But definitely in a smaller school, you would be on greater demand. But at no point is there any unions. There is no unions. That's simple. Okay, next question goes to Dean. The author recounts a teacher's experience with student complaints at a Kiowa school. These were expressed to the teacher's superiors, which were then posted for the teachers to read in the teacher's room. Damn.
Wow.
Some of the complaints listed were: teacher had his tie on loose, son of a bitch,
Wow.
with the top button undone.
How dare he?
Teacher sat cross-legged or looked tired. A human being that was tired. Miraculous. Teacher placed hands on the floor for a moment, which is bad because floor is dirty. Dirty,
wow.
dirty floor.
It's incredible.
This teacher stated, this is paraphrasing, the word the employer uses is customers. Once our position is reduced to that of a mere, what the fuck? Then anything a customer complains about becomes valid. I'm getting the sense it's like you as a person have become commoditized, and you're kind of like, this is bordering on, we're getting a little bit communist here, where it's like if you're working in an Kiowa and it's a total business, then you're not looked at as so human. And you could comment on this a little bit, Dean, because you've had experiences with complaints within
absolutely.
Yeah.
Not due to any of my my teaching practices. I didn't like beat the kids or anything, but you are so expendable when it comes to Ikawa, and it's not. Whereas now that I refer to my students kind of as students and their parents, now in Ikawa it was students and customers. So I was told to call them customers or to treat them as customers, and I had one particular. I just don't know if she had a rod up her ass or something. I'm not entirely sure.
Yes.
But she just basically said that my dress wasn't appropriate, like my clothes. Now, the previous Ikawa company I worked for, we were strictly told, can't go in. We were told specifically the college look. Now, I don't personally know what that kind of is, but I take that as t-shirt and jeans or something, or t-shirt and shorts, depending on the days of the weather or whatever. And I was wearing just like a t-shirt and some jeans, nothing that was kind of like offensive on the t-shirt. And she just kind of laid into me and just kind of said, oh, I don't believe that your dress is appropriate. You shouldn't be wearing bright colours. I think that was it. It was something like, I shouldn't be wearing bright colours. I might have even been wearing a shirt that's quite similar to what Dave's wearing now. I wasn't going in there dressed in a luminous yellow.
Sure.
Hey everyone.
So what was the end result of that?
Basically, she threatened. She said she was going to call the company. I said, "Oh, here you go." Then I wrote my name, my full name, my employee number down, and the number to the company. And I went, "Here you go. Please call the complaints department, and please reference my name.
Do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do. If you want my honest opinion, I believe you're going to be baseless in what it's completely ludicrous what you're saying. But no, please go ahead and do it."
Anything come of it?
Nothing came of it whatsoever.
Aha.
I don't believe that she even rang the company, and after that her daughter was swiftly removed from the school due to complaints of the Japanese teacher. So they actually she seemed to just not be a particularly nice person, and she called the Japanese teacher out. So in the end was as well to say that you use too much Japanese during the lessons.
Okay.
So my child's not learning English. Basically, to cut a long story short, due to the supposed incompetence of the Japanese teacher, the child was removed from the school.
Okay, so there's a good example though where we're looking at these questions here where you might have to field complaints, but it doesn't always result in some sort of smashing you and like threatening your job. Yeah. So it can happen, but this is going to come down to it is not just in one light that we cast it. It's that they do happen, but it's not always going to be that your job is threatened as a result of it. You might have more pressure on you in the Kiowa because it's more of like the customer, like business kind of relationship that you have. Yeah. So it can happen, but it's not endemic. It's not like everywhere that will always result in the loss of your job. But there's an example with Dean where it can come up, and you get some ridiculous person who's having a bad day and they don't want help. They just want to be mad at someone.
That's pretty much what it was.
Okay, next one. I can field this one. I have less experience, but I can. It's the author recounts several teachers being heavily encouraged to sell school study materials, books, CDs, and other self-study materials. Have any of your schools encouraged you to push a product on students specifically? a product you don't believe or feel, or a product you feel is inadequate. So in the public school system, no, never. You would never do that because you're just in the public school system. They don't run as a business like that. But if you work for one of these smaller or larger eikaiwas, there's big and small, because they are a business, yes, they would do that. They're going to have their employees double, not only as teachers, but as sales reps, in a way that, whether that would be that you're selling, materials to the students, saying this would be very useful, we have a book that you can use, or it could go down to as much as just advertising for the school. You could be going out and handing out flyers for a couple of hours. I don't see that. If you understand that beforehand, you don't need to get all communist on it and recognize you're in a business. So
Absolutely,
if you're in a
the key.
business, that's something that's going to happen. If you don't like that, then don't do it. But it's just, businesses need more business, and it's not surprising that you would have to advertise. And hiring someone entirely separate when you, as the teacher, are the face of the school, would be mostly impractical.
You was the foreign teacher.
Yeah.
Because
Especially.
that's what they're getting. It doesn't matter. It's irrespective of the Japanese teacher that you work with or whatever. You are, as a foreign face, you are the product.
Okay, here we go. Now on to the next one. We'll get Dean to comment on this. I keep saying this. To quote from a section of the book referring to Aeon's written policy, the Foreign Teachers Policy Manual stated that employees should be required to compensate the employer for losses resulting from the employee's decision to change apartments. Using this clause, the company has demanded that teachers keep paying rent after leaving their accommodation until another tenant is found. I understand some companies place you into housing which they have already contract in place. Sometimes these contracts can change a premium price so the school can make a profit off the housing over and above that they're paying. It seems the case referenced above that even in this was identified and a teacher wished to move out, find his or her own place, they were making them pay rent. Again, I realize this isn't always going to be the case. So to talk about absorbent fees in housing, that's just talking about that.
Okay.
What's your experience? I can give a minute of mine.
Okay, I would say, look, my experience, I personally haven't actually experienced that, and that sounds awful. And you'd be crazy to kind of pay that. I had kind of a similar-ish situation when I changed companies, and the current company that we work for, they wanted me to pay for the damage that had been done by the previous tenant, and the way they swung it was, oh no, we've helped you out here, we found you this apartment, we didn't have to find you this apartment, we're gonna make sure that key money, you'll be okay. But I just kind of point blankly refused to do it. I said, where would you personally ever pay for damage that you didn't commit? That's just insane.
It's insane and downright extortionate. And I even brought it up with the branch manager at the time when I heard about this happening to Dean, and I kind of jokingly, not so jokingly said, so I was like, so that's kind of illegal and kind of mafia, isn't it? That you would expect him to pay that, smiling and laughing in his stupid face. No, just kidding. He's whatever. It's so shit like that can happen. That's a good way. It's not too bad. He didn't have to in the end, but
because basically I threatened to not take the job.
Yes, and so you need to be aware of that with these larger companies, particularly. If you went to a smaller company that doesn't, do such mass dispatch, like these large companies are dispatch companies to the public school system, you probably wouldn't have so much of the problem, and they would be shocked to hear about something like that. Yeah. But they're preying on the fact that you're new to the country, and they're like, oh, we just do it that way. Yeah. Never, if something seems really extortionate or strange in housing in Japan, it probably is, and you should defend yourself and really look into it and get third and fourth opinions. And you can do that through all these different resources, like the say the Facebook groups and stuff like that, and say, is it normal to have to pay someone else's damages? No. So you do need to be careful. One that I'm pissed off about, which I kind of signed away, again not thinking, was that I have to pay when I leave this contract with leopalace a $300 or 30,000 yen cleaning fee.
Yes.
That's insane. Why are you paying a cleaning fee while at the same time you're expected when you move out to do a full and thorough clean?
Yes.
So it's basically that, like, they're like, oh, by the way, there's a clear out charge. It's not really for cleaning because they won't have to do anything because you're expected to clean for leaving the apartment.
Yes.
So they can try and nickel and dime you in a number of different ways, and you really have to be careful. As well, you'll be given the impression that, oh, this is the only housing you can do. Mentioned already in this, and I'm highly suspicious of it because I've not gotten a straight answer, is that because they have a pre-arranged agreement that all their employees will go to a specific type of housing, they will collect a commission on the housing that they put you in with an agreement. Because when I asked, they said, to the best of my knowledge, we don't know that. What the hell are you talking about, to the best of your knowledge? Like, you know what your housing agreements are with these companies. So that seemed really, really, really suspicious to me. And it sounds like it has happened in different cases. So housing, be really, really careful. There's nothing wrong with asking, with referring to other people. Yeah. And yeah, it does happen where these kind of fishy things happen. The best way to get out of it usually is to do your own housing. And there's you can do that through gaijin pots. You can find places. You can go through, I believe it's GTN Japan. I've had that recommended as well. There's alternatives. Going through the company is convenient, and you're going to pay for that convenience in a number of different ways. Yes. Okay, so that was long-winded but necessary. Okay, concerning the dress code. This is good. Yes. Okay, this will be Dean's. Concerning the dress code, generally, how strict is this? Yep. I've seen many teachers vary in small ways. I've seen a teacher with his shirt sleeves rolled up above his elbows with no tie and the top button undone. Conversely, I've seen a full suit with tie. I know this must vary widely, but in your experience, what is most common? I'd really like to have my sleeves rolled up. I like to make a lot of hand gestures, especially when the kids are shitty.
Yeah.
Okay, your thought.
Yeah, obviously, in terms of, okay, I'm going to split the question into two. Ikaiwa, in my experience, it's real informal dress. So, shirt, pants, you're all good. No worries.
Yeah, casual.
Casual wear. In terms of the public school, I believe, again, it varies. At my particular public school, my particular Kyoto sensei, which is like the vice principal, he's very hot on this. So all year round, suit and tie, all year round, except for this year where I believe the Japanese government have instituted something called Cool Biz.
They've had it for a couple of years.
They had it for a couple of years now. I think it's due to the Fukushima stuff.
I don't know
entirely, but anyway.
And it's hot here. Yeah, it's insanely hot.
It's insanely hot. So I am allowed to kind of rock up, still wearing suit pants and a full shirt, but I'm allowed to roll my sleeves up, and I'm allowed to not have a tie with my top button undone. But I know when it comes to like November time, could even be this next month coming up now in October, I'm gonna have to go back to wearing the tie again. But also, if you're putting like that's a junior high school. Sorry, if you're putting like an elementary, they all wear sportswear.
Yeah.
So in one
just
of my,
casual.
it's super casual again. Like I wear a pair of like jogging shorts and like a t-shirt, just a normal t-shirt with trainers.
Okay.
So yeah.
You might call this some of the good, that in some situations, if you get like a good school, then it's no problem. Like at my two schools, since I've been there for a little while now, the staff I lucked out. I got some great staff. I go in there with like my business slacks on, but mostly I wear just like kind of a casual sweater, and they haven't said a thing. They never have. They do not care.
No.
And I got a buddy who used to teach here, who worked at all, like Dean was talking about, these elementary schools where it's way more casual, and he would go in just like, like t-shirt and shorts. I couldn't believe it when I'd see him in the morning. So that can be a good thing. If you get into a good school, the dress code is not so insane. No. And because we're coming up on 20 minutes, we'll probably finish on this, and I'll just address the last part of this dress idea. So it says, the author accounts another teacher's personal feelings, this is about the dress code, while riding his bike down the street wearing a tie. There were only two things I could be, a Mormon or an English teacher, neither of which carries much respect in Japan. This is absolute bullshit. Yeah, English teachers, I almost feel the English teacher thing has less respect with other people who work in Japan. It's more like, oh, you're another English teacher here. But Japanese people really want to speak English. A lot of them do. So they're like, oh, an English teacher, that's really useful and will help our country.
Yes.
So there isn't any stigma associated that I've ever seen. And if you have that in your head, then that's your personal like feeling regarding it. But I don't know why you've made that choice. I've not had people look down on my position, and I don't think I'm being ignorant or that they're being two-faced about it. I just think that they want the help. They appreciate it. And then it says, yeah, how do you feel about the status of English teachers? Maybe not the most prestigious situation. Felt embarrassed. Yeah, that's answered. No, I've never felt embarrassed. Never. I can be proud of it.
Yeah.
And if, yeah, depending on, there's better and worse companies, you get more prestigious, because if you go to some like really, you know, high class Eikaiwa, then it'll be like, oh, I'm working for a school that has a reputation for really bringing up the level of ability in Japan. So no, and you would agree, it's fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so now you don't need to worry about being an English teacher. That's like, I mean, everybody's gonna hate, right? Some people are out there, but that's not predominant at all. Okay, so there's there's probably another like 5 or 6 questions, and so we will address this in another video. Thank you for tuning in to see, yes, part 2. Thank you for tuning in. Dean and I are going to do the Great Natto Race of 2015 shortly, where we're going to subject ourselves for your viewing pleasure to see who can make it through Natto, and we'll of course show you how disgusting this stuff is, although healthy, and see who can eat like 4 or 5 packs within 5 minutes. We're going to get the puke buckets, everything, which you would need, and that'll be coming up shortly alongside with this other video that we'll be making soon. But if you have any questions or suggestions for videos, please do get a hold of me, or down below in the contact. I always put my contact down below, or write a comment down below. That's incredibly direct as well. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things you've heard a million times before. Really appreciate it to grow the channel. And until we meet again next time, thanks for tripping with Dave. Anything else?
I'm done.
We're done. Okay, peace.
Peace.